Hey everyone, how's it going? My name is Cole. Welcome back to Cole Protocol Films. I know this is, I guess, not the typical review that I want to do, but if you saw my notification yesterday in my community posts, I was editing my review of Presents for about 4 hours, and my entire audio got infected and was desynced despite me syncing it all. So I had a panic attack and I just couldn't do it. But I just wanted to make this quick video to briefly talk about the movie and warn you as someone who might be interested in watching it, because there is a moment of this movie that I can't even believe I have to talk about it, that it makes me very uncomfortable. I've been in the military for several years, and every few months we have training about sexual assault and prevention, and there is a moment in this movie that I do not believe was handled with much grace, and there was also no warning about it. There is a character in this movie that goes around and puts roofies in other characters' drinks. And there is a very prolonged sequence near the end of the film, very prolonged sequence, of him drugging a character, and it is heavily implied he is going to take advantage of that character. And there is a twist, and spoiler alert, that heavily implied thing does not happen. It's very close, but it's just a very uncomfortable sequence. I just wanted to warn you, if you are interested in seeing that movie, if you have any trauma of grape, because that's what happens in the movie basically, don't watch this movie, because as someone who has not been in that situation, it made me uncomfortable. So if that makes you uncomfortable, don't go watch this movie. Other than that scene, I do not think the movie is very good. There are better movies like A Ghost Story that handle its concept with more grace, using the perspective of the ghost in a much more convincing, emotional, impactful, poignant, and just beautiful way. The movie is pretty shallow with what it talks about. It's kind of has that indie filmmaker vibe where it tries to have dialogue that's super deep and meaningful, but the characters end up telling you how they feel, not showing you, and that is something that bothers me as a filmmaker. And I don't think that there is much to really offer in this movie. It does have a crisp 1 hour and 25-minute runtime, which is all right, but I don't know, it uses like an 18mm lens, which is a pretty unique perspective, though it feels like I'm getting like a tour of a house on Zillow. And overall, I just do not think it is a very great movie, because you are utilizing a gimmick, and at the end of the day, gimmicks can kind of make or break movies. In this movie, it feels very shallow, and I don't feel like it elevates the story. It is more of just a difference in camera angles. Whereas the gimmick in A Ghost Story helps the story transcend, has a beautiful meaning and purpose to it, if that makes sense. And I just don't believe Presents is very worth anyone's time. I don't really know why it's being talked about a lot, and I didn't really know much going into the film. I only read the description of the movie, and I guess Neon is marketing it as a horror movie, which, sorry to break it to you, this is not horror. I don't know what they're talking about. I know people complained about Longlegs being labeled a horror movie, or the scariest horror movie of all time, and that movie looks like, I don't even know what people consider as the scariest movie. I believe it's Sinister. It makes Longlegs look like Sinister to me, This is not a horror movie at all. It's not even a thriller. The closest thing it is just a drama, but the drama is it's just bland, guys. The acting's really bad. Dialogue is very hit or miss, mostly miss. And I just don't see why people are really hyping it up that way. It is from the director of Ocean's 11 and the writer, David, I think it's Cope, I don't know how to say his name, sorry guys, who wrote the original Raimi Spider-Man movie and the original Jurassic Park movie. But he has not really had the best, I guess, movies, scripts in the last like 20 years. So it's not anything that you can really go in saying, oh wow, this is going to be a guaranteed masterpiece. I was kind of hopeful because it has like a 3.2 on Letterboxd, but I went in and it was extremely underwhelming. There isn't much to chew on. There isn't much that the movie says that isn't said better in other movies, A Ghost Story. And even from a filmmaking aspect, there isn't much to really like all at, There are some pretty interesting Foley work, I will say. I'm curious how they did some of the behind the scenes, if they used strings, if they had the camera actor or cameraman wear like socks to walk around, or if they added all the house creaking and post. I'm assuming they did as Foley work. Sorry, I can't speak. It is snowing and I'm in my car and I'm freezing. But I just don't really think it is that interesting of a movie. If you want something that has this gimmick or has this perspective, go watch A Ghost Story, because I believe that is truly the mother of all, like, gimmick movies, I guess you could say. I don't really like using gimmick movies because I feel like that demeans the stories that are being told, but Presence just doesn't have much to really walk away from. You're not going to say, wow, that really talked a lot about this subject, when it kind of reminded me of Emilia Perez. It's not as bad as that piece of shit movie, but it kind of had the same idea where it talks about a lot of different things and mentions different things, but it doesn't actually go into them in depth. And that is my issue. I feel like when you hype up a movie like this that I'm seeing in post, it's just not worth it. So if you guys want to go watch a good movie, go watch A Ghost Story. But overall, guys, I'm sorry this is a very lazy review. I just had a panic attack yesterday and I couldn't go through trying to re-edit everything. So hopefully you enjoyed this. Please like and subscribe. Peace.